everyone. It is Tyree, the MC, your current Mrs. Clackamas County, and your legacy 2023 Mrs. Oregon American. I am so excited because today we have Tanesha Williams, and she is one of our speakers for, of course, the Empowering Women's Expo. Tanesha, thank you so much for joining me. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me, Tyree. I am Tanesha Williams. I am a child of God first. I was born here in the Pacific Northwest, but I am a Cajun girl from the South. And my purpose in life is to empower women. I always knew that I would be here in my place, just being able to empower women, showing them who they could be. And I started as a little girl from talking to dolls and knowing that I could communicate properly. And I realized as I got older that that was a key component of my identity, to know how women should speak to themselves and how to speak to each other, to enact and empower and ignite the things that they want in their life. So here I am today, 42 years young, being in this is my very first workshop. I'm super excited. So for me, this is just all about being of service and showing other women, if I can do it from the things I went through, so can you.
I love that. And it sounds like you've really used all of those things to start your own life coaching business.
Absolutely. Yes. Ignite the IAM started about 8 years ago, and it is an actual program that I created from my own experiences, understanding that every woman should know their own identity. What is an identity and why is that important? Because it allows other people and things to not take me out of my character, to not destroy me or break me down. So understanding that I use 4 pillars, which are love, intimacy, connection, as well as communication and your higher power, to know who you are and learn how to take those things in life and make the life that you really want for yourself.
Speaking of higher powers, I read that you are an ordained minister. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. I am actually celebrating my own 20th anniversary next week. So I think that when I said I do, I realized how important that was. And I feel like being an ordained minister is my way of giving back to people, to be able to share in that beautiful moment when 2 people decide to spend their life, no matter what, with each other.
I can appreciate that so much. I have been married it'll be 29 years in September. So yeah, and marriage, peaks and valleys, and it takes work. And I also read you have 10 children. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. I have 6 girls, 4 boys, and I have 1 grandson. So big family over here.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you probably do a lot of praying, I take it.
Absolutely. Prayer is a part of my identity. Morning, noon, and night. Even when my eyes are closed, I'm praying in my dreams. Prayer is a part of who I am.
I'm right there with you. Building strong identities can be challenging to know exactly who you are. And you help people find their identities. Can you give me a little bit more information on how you even start?
Absolutely. So with identity, I think the first thing that all women need to realize is that self-awareness is super important in finding out who you are. We are taught in life to just hustle and bustle and go through the motions. And a lot of time women, because of all the titles they hold, it makes them be on autopilot. So they just wake up in the morning and they're just moving and shaking, and they're not aware of what they're doing because life taught them that they had to be on a repetitive mode every day, and that's the life they live. So when it comes to finding your identity, the first thing you have to do is be aware. Sometimes it's hard for us as women to choose ourselves because our other titles in our life take up our time to even think what is important, meaning asking questions. So self-awareness in your identity means that I need to check in myself and ask, what do I really want? What do I want in my life? Why am I the way I am, or why am I here? So in Ignite the IAM, I really want to teach women that asking questions gives answers. We're scared to ask ourselves, what are we doing here? So sitting down and having that self-awareness and just saying, I'm ready to take the next step is truly the best way to start finding your identity.
And you do some of that with mentoring. So can you tell me a little bit about how mentoring really empowers the women that you work with?
Absolutely. So when I mentor a woman, I like to be able to sit down and truly have them unload. For women, we are normally emotional creatures, but we redirect that emotion in not healthy ways. We may use it when it comes to the foods we eat and the things we do or the things that we say. So when I mentor someone, we're really sitting down, really breaking down our current life. In your actions, everything has a reaction. And a lot of times we forget that the more we put out, the less we give. And then the less we put out, the more that we give to ourselves internally. So especially with women, and I work with them to be able to say, at this point in my life, if I'm here, I have the power to decide where I go. I have that title. It's like a God-given right that I am the master of my own fate and I am the captain of my soul. But sitting down and have that conversation sometimes can be really tough.
And you said that this is one of your first workshops, so that's very exciting. Congratulations. We're so happy to have you.
Absolutely.
And so with that said, what are you looking forward to most?
The first thing I'm looking forward to is just meeting all the women there. Being in this avenue and space with people. When you walk into an empowerment expo, you're going expecting something. That means it's a need. When we have expectations, we walk into what we need. So all of the women that will be there, they are looking to be empowered. So with my program and my chance to be able to speak, I just want to meet all the women and hear all of their stories and just see where they are and see if there's anything I can do to help them. This life of service is not an easy one, but it's one that I know that I was chosen and I would have to do it in every spec of this interview, as well as the Empowerment Expo.
Like we should be friends. Like and that's how I felt with every single speaker. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love you. I love everybody.
Yes, I love this.
I can already tell because all of our speakers are so incredibly passionate in what they believe in empowering women. And one thing that I want to know from you is, can you tell me a little bit about what sets you apart?
Yeah. So I think that every single woman has something inside of them that actually sets them apart. It's whether we use it or not that actually makes the difference. We all have a one quality that we were put here to be in this world and to give to it. But because of other things that life tells us, we forget that our purpose is to help. And when we work together and be able to be in a space where there's no judgment and there's only just the authority of truth, absolute truth. So for me, when I get in that arena and I get in that space, I just want to be able to share my heart and soul and hope that one of those women can see me inside of them to be able to say, you know what? I know I'm ready. I'm here for a reason, and I want to be able to enact what's inside of me to be better.
Oh, right on. If you could speak to your 5-year-old self right now, what would you tell her?
Wow. Well, my 5-year-old self was a little girl who just talked to My Little Ponies. So I had about 5, 6, or 7 of them, and they were my best friends. But each pony had its own destination, meaning that when I was angry, I talked to this pony. So I think that I was the first one that started Inside Out because I did it as a little girl. So if I could talk to my 5-year-old self, I will be keep talking, keep speaking, keep understanding to know that your power is only as powerful as when you decide to open up your mouth and speak the things that you want for yourself. That's what I tell her.
Sounds like you were a smart 5-year-old, and of course a child growing up in the 80s like I was, or early 90s.
Yes.
I can identify I had My Little Pony as well.
Yes, so you understand.
Yes, my hashtag all year, it's 48 is great because I'm a little older than you are.
Oh, hey, 48 is great. I want to look like you at 48.
Oh, well, thank you. If there's some ladies who are on the fence, they don't know if they should really go or not because, it may be a long drive to Hillsborough. There's going to be people there. They got to deal with parking.
Right.
It might be just too hard for them.
Yeah.
What do you say to that woman?
I say to that woman is that you wake up every single morning and you do hard things. And a lot of times, once again, women make choices for other people outside of themselves. So if you're at a place where you feel broken, if you're at a place where you feel confused, are you at a place where you feel like you don't have any goals or structure, or just get up to be able to do more? I say take a chance and bet on yourself. You know, when we really get in an avenue and a spirit and space of other women with all the other amazing speakers that will be there, something will change inside of them. Because my question to every single woman that I put through my program is, if not today, when? When do we decide to truly choose ourselves? Because there's nobody else in the world that can speak to us the way we can speak to ourselves. So get in that car, go and get that ticket, go be in a space of thousands of women who will remind you who the hell you are.
I could not have said it any better. Great job. As a woman of a certain age, I have now found that I know who I am, and I'm not going to apologize for it. Mm-hmm. I'm not the same woman that I was in my 20s, in my 30s. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, because I am confident in who I am now, people around me who have known me for a long time, they have a hard time with that. Mm-hmm. So help me help those who are having a hard time with us coming into our own.
Absolutely. So the real reason sometimes that when we see women on that, you know, we get older, we get wiser, and we get smarter, and we get more set in who we are, the reason sometimes it makes other women uncomfortable is because they're scared. Fear makes us do a lot of things that we might not necessarily want to do. It'll make us not reach for those goals we really want. It'll make us not go for that relationship that we really want to have. So sometimes when we see other women living in their confidence, it makes our own insecurities come out. But the way you combat that is absolute truth. A lot of times we don't want to sit down and say what we really are, what we really feel. Feelings actually represent an inconsistent way of living. We feel like we want to eat Burger King, but do we necessarily need that? So the absolute truth brings out what we really need, and that's what actually creates change. So as we grow and get older, you know, I used to love to go out in my 20s. Now in my 40s, I'm a homebody. But the reason I came to that is because the level that I'm at in my life requires peace. But if I would have never had that absolute truth conversation with myself, I could have never realized that on my own. So as we get older, I empower every single woman to say, you know what? It doesn't matter what age I am. The way that I get comfortable within my skin is being truthful about who I really want to be in my skin.
Yes. And what I have found is, as I was trying to find myself, and in fact, you know, especially in the pageant world, you know, you walk into a room where, you know, these are your Sash sisters, but they're also your competitor. Comparison, you know, and comparison is the thief of joy.
Absolutely.
But it is so hard to not compare. So do you have any tips for those women who walk in that room and they're like, oh, I wish I looked like that. Oh, I wish I was as successful in my career as that. What do you do to tell them?
Absolutely. So I say that when I see other women, and I'm going to use you for example, you are an amazing, beautiful woman. You literally walk in front of people and judge by how you talk, walk, and move. And me, in my fluffy self, I could say, oh my gosh, I wish I looked like her. But what I do is when I look at other women and I see the things that maybe I want or may see as a good thing, I look at that and I say, if I want to be that way, what do I need to do to make that change? Like, everybody is beautiful in their own way, but the reason we feel that we're not beautiful is because we don't think we are. And no one else can give us that validation but us. So when we get around all these beautiful women who may be skinny or have long hair or be successful, I have to remember that my own piece of joy comes from believing what I want to believe inside of me. I am whatever I think I am. And it doesn't matter who is or isn't or what someone else has or not. I have my own beautiful gift to give to the world.
Amen, sister.
Yeah.
It took me, and in fact, it's still it's a struggle. I think just as women, sometimes we're on the struggle bus and we're
Yep.
just, where it takes some growth, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the struggle bus really, it can be labeled whatever you want. You just have to get off of it and go to the bus that you want to go on.
Yeah, well, and I found that I was getting myself almost into a depression
Yeah.
because and it's because I would see people that were younger than me and they were further in their careers. They were more fit. And I'm like, okay, well, we all have the same 24 hours.
Absolutely.
And so one thing that I've started to do is I get up a little bit earlier.
Hmm.
And that it's hard because my bed's so warm and my dog is asleep,
Exactly.
and but that's what I've done to start change because we have the same 24 hours.
Absolutely. 100%. What do you do with them? That's all that matters.
As a mother of 10, I mean, this is totally unrelated to what you're speaking about, but you are a career woman, you are a mom. How the heck do you keep it all together?
Well, having a good relationship with myself stabilizes me. What does that mean? That means that I only give from my capacity. And sometimes that's very hard. As a wife, as a mom, as a grandmother, I can only give what I have. If I give anything, Tanisha loses. And I have to always make sure Tanisha is okay before I can be anything else for anybody. I am a priority. And I know that life tells us that you're supposed to care about others before you care about yourself. Caring and being who you need to be for yourself is two different things. You can't give from an empty cup. You cannot pour into someone unless you pour into yourself because you'll only give what you can only give to yourself. So a lot of times where we as women wonder like relationships and career, why am I lacking in those things? It's because you're giving to what you need from that instead of giving to what you need from yourself first.
Yeah, just like they say on the airplane, right? You need to secure your air mask first.
Exactly. Yep. Use that analogy in
A
life.
few of our speakers have kind of gone to that same thing. So it seems to be a theme that we
Yes,
have, that we need
absolutely.
to really take care of ourselves.
Hmm.
I have a problem with I have a yes disease, and I've talked about this with other speakers.
Yes.
And as part of, I think, women's identity is
Hmm.
serving others, a lot of us.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what do you say to those women who have that yes disease and have a really hard time saying no?
Absolutely. Absolute truth. The more you say yes to other people, you're saying no to yourself.
Mm,
That's a very uncomfortable conversation to have, right? If I want to be a great friend to my friend and I'm giving and giving and giving, I don't have the capacity to understand that I am giving away what I want from myself. So if I give it to myself first, I won't be a yes person. I won't be someone that would have the need to want to fulfill that in others without giving it to myself. I used to always tell people yes, and it came from a place of trying to people please. But the person I needed to please was myself. So when I decided that the more I say yes to me, the less I can say yes to others. But it also forced me to recognize if the people in my life really love me, they would want me to say yes to myself first.
exactly. Yeah, I
Yes.
think part of my yes problem is I have FOMO. I'm like, I don't have the capacity to do
Mhm.
XYZ,
Yep.
but I don't want to miss out. It looks like fun.
Right.
And
Yes.
that's my downfall is the
Yes.
FOMO.
That's
Do
okay.
you have tips on how to get over that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, life is about experiences, right? We wake up in the morning and we want to experience life. Well, you should want to experience life because life is an experience. It isn't a will. So for me, when I want to do things for myself, I have to decide, is this going to fulfill me? Is it going to serve me? If it doesn't fulfill and serve me, I might have to sit back and say, okay, maybe not this time. Because when you're in a life of service, a lot of what you already do already is helping, right? We give, we're a giver. But for me, sometimes when I want to do things for myself, because my time is limited and I only got one life to live, I'm not a cat. So I have to say to myself, does this serve me? Does it fulfill me? And will it produce good fruit? When you just decide to do that, it'll automatically lead to be able to help and serve others when you choose things for yourself of fulfillment and serves.
Good thing we recorded this because I'm like, oh, that was a good thing. I want to write that down. That is good information right there.
Awesome,
I
awesome.
have so enjoyed our conversation today, and I'm sure others have enjoyed it as well. And they may not want to wait until February. And who knows, maybe they're seeing this after the expo has even
Yes.
happened. So how do they get a hold of you?
Yes, I have a website, ignitetheiam.com. You can also follow me on Facebook, social media, Instagram, Twitter, all at ignite the IAM underscore. So please share me a follow. I would love to connect with you.
Thank you so much. And everyone, I'm thankful that you joined us and listened to this interview. I'm hopeful to see you February 22nd and 23rd at the Empowering Women's Expo. See you there.